Come on, that wasn't part of the deal. Away.
Let's just go. I don't need the money. Let's just go.
Listen, you're not backing out now, okay? It's too late for that.
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week, Leo sent me Swallowed, and this 2022 film was directed by Carter Smith and stars Cooper Koch, Jena Malone, and Mark Patton, among others, of course. The story of this movie is about these two best friends who are living in some small town in the USA, and one of them is actually about to move away to become a gay porn star in LA, but the other friend thinks that they're just going to be taken advantage of out there, so they want to make some money for the friend so that they don't have to be, reliant on their job or anything like that. So he gets involved in drug smuggling, and he goes to this drug supplier, and he's forced to, swallow these little packets, like little, plastic gloves with pills inside. It's not actually pills, as we find out later. It's actually like these little bugs that move around inside the bags. It's kind of creepy that way. And then, of course, they go across a border, and then something happens, and one of the bags breaks in their stomach, right? So that person is getting like super high, and so they're trying to get these things out. And then the drug smuggling boss shows up, and he's just like the Tiger King, if you know that show. So he has those mannerisms and whatnot, and he's got a gun pointed at everyone to try to get these, drugs out. And of course, since they swallowed them, they're only coming out two ways, right? Out the mouth or out the butt. So they're reaching into each other's butts, trying to pull out these drugs or bug drugs or whatever you want to call them. Of course, all at gunpoint as well. What will happen though? Well, you have to watch the movie and find out. All right, so let's discuss this movie. Well, with this one, I got a little blurb beforehand, and I did call it like a body horror film. It also said there was like horrific intimacy in it. Like that's kind of the phrase they use, horrific intimacy. And it certainly has some of that type of stuff. I did enjoy kind of that element of the bugs in the bags, and that was really creepy. That was, I don't know, if you're squeamish, this is a movie for you to scream through. And so the bugs are moving in the little bags and stuff. It's creepy. What else can I tell you? And then with the horrific intimacy aspect of it, they're like up to their elbows in each other's butts. And if you are, an empathetic person, they're not enjoying it at all. And so they are really and they're doing it at gunpoint too, right? So they're also doing it reluctantly as well. And it is somewhat horrific, but at the same time, it's not what I expect when I hear like body horror. I expect, flesh coming off and all this type of stuff. So it certainly has that body horror aspect to it. It's just not what you expect. Also, the characters are quite engaging as well. The main character's friend, Dom, I enjoyed his character. This actor has only this credit on IMDb as his only acting role, and he has like this really cool neck tattoo, and I enjoyed that. But the character definitely was enjoyable. He's like kind of this like tough guy that was, I don't know, interesting to watch. The main villain is exactly like the Tiger King. He has all the same mannerisms and things like that. And I know the Tiger King is not, a particularly good guy or anything like that, but this guy takes it up a notch. So if you ever wanted to see a really kind of evil version of the Tiger King, then this is definitely going to be a movie for you. In addition, this movie does succeed to give you like a small town feel where there's really no one around, or even in the woods where there's no one around, very kind of isolated feel. It has very little music. Like the first half has like no music in it. And it adds to that atmosphere, right? You hear the birds chirping, nighttime birds doing their thing as well, bug sounds, wood sounds, you hear the leaves rustling and whatnot. So it definitely adds to that feel where it's just a small town, right? It's not the big city or anything like that. It could happen in any isolated little part of the country, right? So definitely adds to the atmosphere in a positive way. And lastly, this film is not afraid of full frontal nudity. You see a few dicks in this one. With this one, I think it doesn't really add anything to it, but it does add like a shock value to it. So it's a risk they take. I think it pays off just for the shock of it. It adds nothing to the story or anything like that, but it is shocking, I would say. Some of them do seem like they're just holding like rubber dildos, but there's certainly one scene where it's this full frontal nudity of this guy. So yeah, I'll put it in the positive one just for that shock value of it. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this movie. Well, the first thing you'll notice when you press play is the screen ratio. It's much more closer to like a square rather than, your elongated TVs. And so it has these big black bars on the side. And I don't know. I thought that was odd and kind of annoying because I want to see more of the picture, I think they were trying for like a 16 millimeter type of feel where that's, a square. But at the same time, for a modern TV, that's just distracting. So it does have that detractor where your eyes kind of notice these things even though you're not supposed to notice them. So yeah, that is in there. Also, there is a lack of music in this one, and I know I put that in the positive half because they did it as a choice and it works out for, how they're doing it with the atmosphere they're going for. But at the same time, it doesn't like ramp up your emotions ever. You see them running through the woods, being chased or whatever, but it's nothing too intense because it's just birds chirping, squirrels doing whatever sound they make. And so, yeah, it could be added to really ramp up that emotional thing. But the way they did it, I guess, is fine to add that isolation atmosphere. So it's one of those things where it is a trade-off. So some people will really enjoy that. Some people not so much. As for my recommendation, I think all, horror fans can watch it. It certainly has that kind of creepy aspect to it. I'm certainly creeped out with kind of that drug aspect to it where, people overdose because these bags break in their stomachs and stuff. And so that was much more creepier for me than anything else. So it has something to be creeped out for all different types of audiences. So if that sounds like you, then yeah, press play. As for a rating, well, I'll give it the average score of 5. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.